morning. I'm coming from a really strange place in my house. It's my bathroom. The reason for that is it's a very clean space. It's all white and very bright and very light, and it gives me clarity. And when I often come in here to think and to study, because there's no distractions. Everything has its place and order, and it just gives me a sense of an escape, an oasis, a place that I can meditate on the Word and just be free from any distractions. So that's why we're in the bathroom today. Yeah, the dog's out there. They bark, and then there's just other distractions that throw me for a loop. But in here, it's a secluded place that I love, and I wanted to bring the message from here today. So anyway, yeah. The message, I'm not a pastor. Some of my gifts and talents are I'm a good teacher. I'm a teacher by profession, and I've taught for 33 years. So I can deliver messages. And so the preaching, though, you really need to go listen to this sermon. It's a sermon by Andy Stanley. He is the son of Charles Stanley, who is no longer with us. And this message is called Unmistakable, Unshakable. And it's about how do we get closer to God? How do we have that big active faith? How does our faith grow? How do we go from being little children to really on fire for the Lord Christians? And he gives us 5 steps that we take that I'll mention later. But this message really resonated with me today because I think my biggest purpose and mission in life is to help you grow your faith to become unshakable. Because no matter what storms in life that you face, no matter what circumstances, no matter anything that comes up against you, because we do know that there will be much that does. I mean, God promises that in his word that we're going to have many troubles. But to have an unshakable, mature faith, it doesn't matter about those troubles. They're not going to trip you up. They might knock you down, but they won't keep you down if you have a very strong, planted, rooted faith in Christ. And so when I came across this message, it really spoke to me, and I wanted to speak this to you. Please go and listen to the full context of the message by him. It's important that we invest in our lives and that we study so that, we shouldn't just go to church to get the word. The church can only do so much. Our faith can only grows when we actively participate and make application and take action. And so he speaks about that in this message. And I just have some notes here that I take. I have lots of notebooks that I just write things in. Sometimes I never read them, but sometimes I do teach from them. And he said, what I want for you, I want you to have an unmistakable, unshakable faith in God. That in any decision in your life, that Jesus is revealed as God. That you have a big active faith. That it is mature. That you follow Jesus in every informed decision in your life. Because that is the way. That is the answer. That and that the storms in life that hit you, that you won't be overwhelmed by them. And so I think that is what I want for you too. And he speaks it so perfectly that I don't have to come up with the words. And he's given 5 ways of having that and growing that faith. And I'm going to get to those in a minute. And he wrote that Jesus was never really amazed by people's knowledge or education or insights or whatever. That he was amazed 2 times by someone's faith, someone's strong faith and someone's lack of faith. And that you know, he wants us to have a strong faith in him. And, you know, how do we do that though? You know, I've been a Christian since I was 12. And I have to say in the last 5 years, not only has my faith grown, but I have matured as a Christian by leaps and bounds. And the difference is I study. I make an intentional time to speak to Jesus, to praise and worship him, to listen. But the key word here is I don't just listen. I take action and I obey. And that was the missing component. I mean, like a couple things. It's like we can't rely on others, so we can't rely on sermons, and we can't just rely on church to give us our nourishment, our spiritual health. And that just never really registered with me to the degree that it needed to. Like when Jesus says he is the bread of life and he's the living water, those two things are revelations. That without the bread of life, which is his word, you cannot grow. You cannot live the life that he's called you to, because you don't even know the word. You don't even know his expectations, or you don't know him as a person. So to follow him or to act in his ways, you are unaware. So you have to educate yourself. You have to study. And as you do that, he transforms your mind. And that just comes by hearing and doing the word. And so Andy Stanley has given 5 things that will help you, lead you to big faith. The first one, he said, is practical teaching. You know, go to church. Do a Bible study. Study the scriptures. But that's not enough. And so we have to daily make a time for him. And me, it's of the mornings, but I don't just do it of the mornings. I do it throughout the day and at night too, because like I had shared before in another video, I don't have someone that I need to, that takes my time and attention. I have my children, but they're gone and they're often away. And so it leaves me with a lot of time to study and to get with Jesus. So I do that. I take every opportunity I can. The second step, he said, is a personal ministry, that you step out. And this is true. I always wanted to go on a mission trip, but because of my allergies and my food issues, I felt that I couldn't go. And so I allowed the enemy to lie to me. They cooked special for me. So I decided, because I felt led and called to go there, I said, okay. And Jesus made a way. And they cooked special things for me, and my stomach didn't get upset at all. And so I stepped out. I also led a Bible study. I led a divorce group that I felt, leading to. I stepped up and I helped with the youth. And so I personally took it into my life, and I didn't just let the church serve me, but I actively grew my faith by engaging my life. The next one is private disciplines, and that is the disciplines that we have in life. Like, if you want to see your faith grow, you have to be disciplined in what you do. Like, every morning I wake up, I have coffee, I do a Bible study and pray and worship before I go and even get my daughter up. I start that morning routine out. It's daily. If by some chance I miss it in that routine of things, I replace it in the evening or something like that. But I'm committed to doing a study and spending time. Why am I doing it? Not because of works, but because I know what happens when you don't. If I'm not prepared and charged and filled with the word, and go out for the day, I know the enemy is really going to tempt me and test me and try me, and because I just haven't made that time and space to let God fill my heart and mind and speak life over me and show me what he has in store for me for the day. So a discipline is when you choose to do something and it becomes a habit, a routine. And that could be, a Bible study. It could be prayer life. It could be, it's just a dedicated thing that you do. Like, it is a given that we go to church on Sunday. It's always been a given that we do that. We may miss, but for the most part, church is Sunday. And so just like we get up and we eat breakfast and go to work or go to school, that has been incorporated into a life routine. And that's necessary for you to do, is to create some private disciplines surrounded by our God. The fourth one is providential relationships, is like who is in your circle or who has God planted in your life. Might be for just a season. It might be a new friend. It might be, that's happened to me multiple times. I've had just poof, out of nowhere come these people that really carried me through that season. Not only carried me, but carried the ministry that God had given me at the art studio. My world was shaken multiple times, and he always rose someone up to step in and fill for me when I couldn't. And same way with when I was going through my divorce. He brought an angel into my life and really helped me walk that path. And it was long and it was hard, and but that person was there and speaking truth and giving me godly wisdom as to what to do. And so God puts people in our lives who are there for reasons. And it might be a job he's given us, like that happened to me too. I was put in a placement of a job for a couple years that really helped me process not only my emotions, but process my relationships with my children, with other people. It helped me, to manage my emotions because that was my job. I was a social and emotional learning specialist, and my job was to help others walk through that. And so as I helped them, God used that job to help me grow and heal, and that was great. And the last thing is pivotal circumstances that get our attention, like the divorce. That could have made me or break me. In life, the things that happen to us do one of two things. They cause us to walk away, or they cause us to grow closer to God. In my situations, everything that's happened to me has caused me to grow closer to the Lord, and I'm so thankful for that. I have known people to walk away under the same circumstances, and that is a sad thing to do. And he talked about how there was 3 things that in those pivotal circumstances, what causes us to either draw near or walk away. And I want to find that for you because it was important. Okay, so the bad events that either strengthen us or destroy us, here's how we respond to it, is what do we believe about it? Who are we listening to? And the third thing, how we frame it in our mind. How do we process it? What do we believe about that happened to us? And if we can allow God to give us those answers, to give us a perspective, his perspective that we didn't have, then most likely we were going to run to him and not run from him. And so, I mean, he's given so many notes. He said that the last 3, 4, and 5, which is private disciplines, providential relationships, and pivotal circumstances, those are not the church's responsibilities. Like, if you're counting on just the church and the pastor to grow your faith, you're going to stay a child, because it takes more, and it takes obedience and life application. And I'm just going to read some of my straight notes if I can read it. It's so critical that we get in a circle. If you belong to a large church, you need to get and join in on the small groups, because these are the people that see you and know you and pray for you, hold you accountable. You're allowed to tell your stories. It's just an intimate bond that you create, and that you have to have that community of believers. And there's something really special about people praying for you out loud and you hearing your name and them standing, in for you and in agreement with you and other believers. And then he said that in real life, the only thing that makes a true difference is when our faith becomes action. When it changes our lives, when we no longer hear it, but that we make faith application. When you become obedient to God, like when you actually do something that he's told you to do. And when that intersects, when your act of faith intersects with God and you are obedient, it becomes real and it grows your relationship with Christ. That it takes initial baby steps to do that, to act in faith. But once you take that initial baby step, it's called weighted faith. It's like, I remember when I did that and this happened and God showed up and he walked alongside me and he blessed. And so you're going to see that faith in action, and it makes all the difference. So I want to encourage you. He encourages us here as believers that if you have not implemented these 5 steps to grow your big faith, then start today. Doesn't matter that you might be 56 or 60 or 70, or you might be, I don't know who's listening to this, but it doesn't matter where you are. That doesn't matter, because everything serves a purpose, and your story and your life circumstances and what's happened and all of that will get you, God's timing is everything. He's sovereign. He's in control. He goes before us. He knows the future, and he acts in our behalf. And they're all just steps. It's all like a puzzle piece. So I heard that in one sermon that I was listening to, is like all of these puzzle pieces are fitting together in your life, and you have this missing component piece. And maybe it's the purpose, and you seeking to fulfill your purpose. And when you get that final piece and God speaks to you and you're like, oh my goodness, I finally know what he's called me to do. All those other pieces, he's going to use. They were, we think, we screwed up. And yeah, we have free will and we did maybe step out of the will of the Father, but he brings it and he uses it for his glory and his plan. He has begun a good work in you, and he will see it out into completion. If you are actively, obediently seeking the will of the Father for your life. And I think I can't stress that enough. You have to be all in. He says you can't be on the fence. You can't be halfway in. You have to be fully committed to him, and you have to surrender your life. So I pray today that you challenge yourself and that you grow in God's love and grace, and that you become this crazy on fire for Christian who is letting the Holy Spirit lead you and discern what he has in store for your future. Great things lie ahead when you actually can not be anxious either. It's such an amazing feeling to have joy and peace regardless of what's coming at you, because you rest in that trust that the Heavenly Father loves you, and he's got this. He's got this, but he does require that you help yourself. You can't just sit back and pray. Like, if he calls you to something, you really have to step up and do it. Fear is a liar, so, and God is a God of peace. So those are two things you need to discern. Why am I scared? What's scaring me? And if you don't have peace about it, why don't you have peace about it? And always examine your heart and your motives, because God does. And if you act out of your own selfish desires and motives, that's not of God, and he's not going to bless that. So yeah, I'm praying for you, and thank you for watching, and have a good day. Thanks. Bye.